Good morning, everyone. This week, the world lost one of its greatest Jewish writers and thinkers, Rabbi Abraham Twersky. Rabbi Abraham Twersky was a psychiatrist, and he authored over 60 books. And we were very fortunate that he spoke for us once as a scholar in residence in Palm Beach Synagogue. Someone once asked Rabbi Twersky, "How did you manage to write 60 books?" And he said, "I really only wrote one book. I just wrote it 60 different ways." What was the central message that Rabbi Twersky tried to impart to people? Well, as a doctor, as a psychiatrist, he recognized that many people were not fully happy. And he felt that a lot of it had to do with the spiritual maladies and lack of fulfillment, purpose, and meaning in their lives. And he taught people that in order to find true happiness, you have to have a sense of self-actualization and reaching our potential and being able to have a purpose and a meaningful life. And he often said, life is like a lobster. He said the lobster is a very soft creature. How does it protect itself from the predators in the sea? So God gave the lobster a very hard shell to protect it. But he said what happens when the lobster is growing? It feels confined and restricted by its small shell. So it has to shed its shell and grow a larger shell. And he said when the lobster sheds its shell, it makes itself vulnerable to be preyed upon by the larger fish in the ocean. But it must do that in order to grow a larger shell, or else it will always live in a state of confinement. And he said human beings are like lobsters. Sometimes we want to grow, and we feel confined, we feel restricted, and therefore we don't feel happy. And in order to truly be happy, we have to shed our old shells and grow larger shells. But in order to do that, sometimes we have to open ourselves up and we have to be vulnerable. But if we don't do that, if we live with our old shells, we'll never grow. And if we don't grow, we will feel stifled and suffocated and unhappy and miserable. And that was really what Rabbi Twersky devoted his entire life to, teaching people how to grow, how to develop, how to actualize their full potential. And all of his books talk about finding the self-confidence and belief in yourself to be the full you. There's a story that Rabbi Twersky often told about when he was running an addiction center, because he devoted much of his life to helping people with recovery from addiction. There was a young man there by the name of Avi, and Rabbi Twersky was saying that the key to recovery is believing in yourself and your potential. And after the lecture, this young man, Avi, raised his hand and he said, "Rabbi Twersky, it was a beautiful lecture about believing in yourself. But how can I?" He said, "I was a happily married man, had beautiful children, had a good job. I got involved in substance abuse. I started to ruin my life. As a result of that, I got divorced. As a result of that, I got fired from my job. Now my kids are embarrassed. They don't even want to talk to me." And he said, "I'm penniless. I can't even afford to buy my children birthday presents. How could I look at myself in the mirror and be proud of myself or believe in myself?" And Rabbi Twersky said to him, when you go by a jewelry store, you see a beautiful diamond ring sparkling in the window. He said, but when that diamond came out of the ground, it was hard, dark, black, and cold. It wasn't attractive at all. But they took the diamond and they polished it and they cut it and they shaped it and they set it in a beautiful gold ring, and then they put it in a velvet box and they put it in the window with a spotlight. And now when you walk by the window of the jewelry store, you look at this beautiful diamond ring and you gasp in awe. He said, so too you feel like that black cold stone that was taken out of the ground, and you feel like you have no luster, no beauty. But I want you to know, once we finish polishing you here and learning the road to recovery, you will be like that beautiful diamond. Avi was very happy with the answer. A few days later, they got a call at the recovery center that a man said, my mother died and I'm cleaning out the apartment and I have some furniture I would like to donate. So Rabbi Twersky took a few strong guys, including Avi, told them to go rent a truck and go pick up all the furniture because they were expanding the recovery center and adding a game room and they needed the furniture. And they went to the house and there were couches and tables and bookcases and they were schlepping everything down the steps, taking it into the truck. As Avi was carrying one of the sofas down, an envelope slipped out. He stops, he puts down the couch, he opens up the envelope, and there's $100 bills. He counts 50 $100 bills, $5,000. Avi's bank account was overdrawn, and he thought to himself, this woman obviously hid this under the sofa seat. Nobody will know. Maybe I should take the money. But then he remembered Rabbi Twersky's words. You're a diamond. You just need to be polished. And Avi said to himself, I'm not a thief. He went back up the steps, knocked on the door, and told the man he found the money and returned it to him. Later that evening, the man came to the recovery center and told Rabbi Twersky the whole story. And he said, I would like to donate this money to the recovery center in honor of Avi. Rabbi Twersky said he used that $5,000 to renovate the rest of the new additional room in the recovery center. And he put up a sign over the door that said, this room is dedicated to Avi, a polished diamond. Rabbi Twersky, of blessed memory, devoted his life to polishing the diamond within each and every one of us. Let us carry on his legacy by learning his books and also working on ourselves to shed our shells, to grow, and to polish our diamonds to reach our full beauty and potential in life.